What's going on, world? Welcome to episode 70 of the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast. With your boys Peter.
Yo.
Mohammed.
Yo.
And myself, Yemi. We're here after a 1 week hiatus, which is my bad. But we're here. How you doing, guys?
Blessed and highly favoured, bro. What you saying, man?
Blessed and highly favoured. Why the fuck not?
Hey,
you know what I
God
mean?
is good all the time?
All the time.
All the time, God is good. Shout out to Drake's in the background.
Shout out to
Big
my
up Drake's.
brothers.
Big up Drake's. You good, bro?
I'm all good, my guy.
Lovely stuff.
There we
Lovely
go.
stuff. How's your week's been, boys?
It's been cool, man. You know what I mean? Work, low profile, gym. That's it. Nothing to report, man.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I
What
feel
are
you.
yours?
Yeah, it was good. I was in Lisbon over the last week, and that's
Oh.
why we weren't able to drop last week. But yeah, it was good, man. Nice to get away,
Yeah.
breathing some new air. You know what I mean, same obnoxious British people that you see here. You found them in Lisbon as well.
Oh, for
but,
real?
Yeah, there was a few, but it's
And they all
cool.
voted Brexit. You know what? Never mind.
No, to be fair, I mean, listen, the rules are very lax. To be honest with you, like we're still able to travel easy.
No, not you.
To and
But
from.
you know when you're sweat, you always got them idiots that travel from England to these countries. If it's the same people I'm thinking about, it's the people that voted for Brexit.
No, they're more civilized, I'd say. Well, there were some of them.
We know who the
Some of the
devil
right wingers.
Yeah.
There were some of the right wingers.
But they normally go Spain.
They normally go straight.
Mallorca.
But it's right next door.
Magaluf.
But it's right next door anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
So yeah, they're spread into Lisbon as well. A lot of Americans as well and Canadians.
Oh, swear.
I don't know how they found Lisbon, but we moved. But yeah, it's a good spot, man. I recommend everybody goes. Good weather, museums, the beach, nice little clubs and bars and stuff. Good stuff, man. But back here in the Babylon,
Babylon.
and it's just as shitty as when I left it. But we're good.
Yeah, man.
Mohammed, how's your week been?
It's been easy, man. Pretty simple. Just work, Ramadan, fasting. It's been essentially the same thing. Just work, mosque, home. Same thing.
How's Ramadan treating you?
It's been good, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's been smooth. Like after a while, you get used to it.
Yeah.
It's been like what? Been fasting since year 8, year 7, around about year 8. Year 8 times. So it's been going on 15 years now.
Yeah.
So after a while, especially when it gets to 7:30, 8 o'clock time to eat, it's always going to be changed. There was times we used to break fast 10:45. I could take it 8 o'clock. It's light work. But you just don't have time to, any of it, like the music we're meant to be listening to, it gets tricky trying to
Yeah, of course.
juggle that because it's trying to, the religious aspect of it
Yeah.
and the
How
side
do you
of it.
juggle that?
I kind of take this month off to just break, man. Like when it comes time to like who do you listen to this week, I won't have 4 or 5 rappers like, do you know what I mean? Just because I haven't been on music as heavy this week or this month, to be honest with you, nowhere near. Just because you replace it. So
Yeah.
the music's been replaced. Me listening to Quran and just trying to get my mind right. So it's just trying to find that the balance between the two. But I always take Ramadan out just it's a break for like a good month.
Yeah.
You just isolate for a month, whatever you've been on, you can stop. If you smoke, you stop smoking. Whatever you do, just kind of use that month to fix up for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be easy for me, man. Alhamdulillah, man. It's been actually a good week. And then Arsenal smoked United last week. Caught that in 4K. And then Pusha go home. Smoked Chelsea. Told them go yard.
That was a good win.
Hey, man. And
Very
West
good
Ham, we're
win.
coming for you next. I can't finish off the Booker T sentence, but we're coming for you.
Well, by the time this episode goes out, it will be the end of Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
So Eid Mubarak to you.
Hey,
We
man.
actually said it right this time. I said it
got
right
this time.
Got it
For
right this
people that
time.
don't know,
Oh gosh.
the start of Ramadan, 2 people in this room messaged me saying Eid Mubarak a whole 30 days early.
Drake's, how could you, bro?
It's the thought that counts, though,
That's why I say I
It's the
appreciate it,
thought
man.
that counts,
Hey,
it's the
man.
thought
But
that
yeah,
counts,
Ramadan's
man.
coming up to an end. It's always bittersweet. Always bittersweet when it ends.
Yeah.
Always bittersweet. It's like, did I use the month as best as I could? Did I maximize as much as I could? But
Did you feel like you have?
yeah,
Yeah.
wherever I could have got out of it, I tried to get out of it. And hey, man, inshallah, the same time next year.
100%, man. And Eid Mubarak to everybody else that's observing
Mubarak to
Ramadan
everyone,
as well.
man.
Has been
Eid
observing
Mubarak.
Ramadan.
Hey, my mom's in Saudi. Enjoy it.
Salute to Mumsy.
Yeah,
Salute to
Saudi.
Auntie. You know what I mean?
Enjoy it.
Yeah, man.
Cool. And salute to everybody listening and watching, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, which I discovered we are on actually these days. Yeah, iHeart as well. We're on iHeart as well.
Are we really on iHeart?
Hey.
So basically what happens is whenever we drop on SoundCloud, there's an RSS feed that then ingests to other platforms. I didn't realize how far it went. We're on iHeart, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on all kinds of different
salute
platforms.
to iHeart, fam.
So
Big
salute to
up
iHeart.
iHeart.
Yeah. Salute to them, man. Oh, because we've not been recording for like 3 weeks, I've gone through a lot of music actually. Let me get it up. Of all kinds. So I'm just gonna reel them off rather than give like a more detailed review. So I listened to Vince Staples' new album, Ramona Park.
Oh, he's got a
Broke
new
My
one?
Heart. Yeah.
Good.
Very good. Very good. Really, really enjoyed it. I listened to Sid's new album, Broken Hearts Club, which is very sweet, very nice. Probably Sid's best album. I listened to a guy called Sunni who dropped a album called Juju and the Flowerbug. Very sweet, very nice. Kind of modern contemporary R&B mixed with a little bit of like K-Tronada-esque type of vibes, which is really good. On the UK side, I listened to Digga D's new project, Naughty by Nature, which is dope. Not only is he killing it on drill, he's also doing kind of more 50 Cent influence where he hops on like 21 Questions type beats and he does the Stunt 101
Can we stop
sort of stuff.
Yeah, you need to relax.
We need to relax with the.
I enjoyed it anyway.
Nah, it seems like I don't mean to cut you off, but it seems like UK has got a sudden infatuation with remixing songs.
No, that's true. Let's not put that solely at the UK. I think DJ Khaled's got a lot of answer for that.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Because he did that first.
I agree with you. But it seems
recently,
especially now, like the last year, 18 months, we're getting a ridiculous amount of remixes in the UK.
It's homage. It's a salute.
But it's not good.
In your opinion?
I don't think it's that creative either, man.
It's not, man.
You're basically just like
I can right now. If you
the
give
song
me,
in
I
the
could do
exact
beg
same
for,
way.
I
You're
could
not
do beg for
changing
mercy
much.
in a heartbeat.
I mean, the flow's different. Subject matter's different.
Give me Many Men and give me 2 weeks with the Many Men beat and the chorus, and I could give you a verse.
Not a good one though.
Better than what's coming out now.
Yo, I need 50 tickets, man.
They were talking about that.
I need
after,
50
innit?
tickets.
I was telling you about that actually as well.
Yeah, I need
was
50
telling you about that.
Anyway, I enjoyed it because Digga D just makes fun music, and you know sometimes I don't want to have my analytical hat on. Sometimes I just want to listen to the music and enjoy it for what it is. And I enjoy Digga D. He's just a fun rapper. Like, is he saying anything meaningful outside of the drilling and you know all of the kind of standard like man girl hold me down relationship type stuff? No, but he's good at what he does, and that's why I enjoy Digga D. Plus, he's just a good personality as well. Like one of the better, funnier personalities we've got in the UK anyway. And yesterday...
Sorry, have you interviewed him ever?
No.
All right, cool.
No. He's... Up until like recently, I think, he wasn't allowed to interview people because of his whole legal situation. But I think recently, he started doing interviews. So, you know, salute to him. And yesterday, I listened to Fly Anakin's new album, Frank, which is really dope as well. So that's what I've been on this week's / last 2 weeks.
So do talk now.
Start with a Push album, which we'll be talking about next week. I've been listening to, there's a singer called Phabo. He dropped an album last year called, I think it's called Soulquarius, which was actually really good. I don't know why you do your face like that. Actually, I do, but I'm never going to acknowledge that. I went back to Frank Ocean's Channel Orange as well. Still a very, very fire album. Checked out Sid's new album as well, which I really enjoyed. She needs to get back with the internet though. Absolutely, yeah, she does, man. She does. What else? And Charlie Mingus, he had an album back in like the 60s called Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. So yeah, been sitting with that as well.
In the 60s?
Around them times.
I listened to that back in the day as well.
Yeah. I love the album cover. That's what made me like listen to it. And it's just always been on my list. So yeah, I finally did that. But yeah, that's it, man. It's been a relatively quiet week for me, like last few weeks musically. That's been me, man.
How many did you want to say something about the 60s?
No, at all.
Yeah, why did you say it like that?
No, I didn't say that. I just said
you
60s.
need to dive into the 60s, bro.
No, I don't.
Open up your repertoire, bro.
All right, cool. Give me one album from the 60s.
Expand your horizons.
Give me one album from the 60s, and by next Friday, I'll tell you what I thought. Give me one album right now.
Any genre.
Any genre from the 60s.
Cool, yeah, we can do that.
Cool. Give me one from the 60s. I'll listen to it. And next Friday, I'm going to have a PEE discussion on how I feel about it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
And I'll give you my point evidence explanation.
Yeah, cool.
Isaac Hayes.
Oh, I've heard Isaac Hayes' name.
I think the album's called Hot Buttered Soul.
Can I Live?
Yeah. I think Wu-Tang might have sampled one of the tunes on I Can't Go to Sleep on like, I think it was Iron Flag or the W.
I think the Look of Love is on that as well. And Jay-Z sampled that for Can I Live.
Can I Live? Yeah, I heard you could say Can I Live.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Isaac Hayes, Hot Buttered Soul.
Okay.
Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. No, not Kind of Blue.
He ain't gonna fuck with jazz.
In a silent way. He's not gonna mess with jazz, but you know.
Can we not put me in the box?
All right, Miles Davis in a silent way.
Shout out to Miles Davis. I'll listen to Miles Davis.
Cool.
What are you laughing for? I'm actually going to listen to Miles Davis.
I don't think there's anything else to be fair that I can think of.
That's fine. We'll do it later.
I'm not going to give you like Beatles or Rolling Stones.
No, we're not going to listen to the Beatles.
You should though.
I don't need to.
You should though.
Yeah, Pete, have you listened to the Beatles?
Yeah, of course.
You like them?
They're all right. They're all right, bro.
Anyway, we're going to move on now to the first topic. And I saw a tweet. So salute to Crate 808.
Salute to Craig.
Salute to Cray,
Big up
friend,
Cray.
friend of the pod. They tweeted quite recently a simple question: are we living in a hip hop golden era right now? And it got a lot of traction. A lot of people saying that, you know, we've been living through it for the past 10 years. We're doing it right now. The definition of a golden age has changed. Some people agreeing, some people not agreeing. So I kind of just wanted to get you guys' opinion, really, because obviously hip hop, I'd say across the board in 2022 is in a very healthy place, artistically, creatively, commercially, very much in a healthy place. Whether you like the music or not that's coming out, but does it equate to a golden age? What is a golden age in 2022? Has the definition changed? What does it look like?
What does healthy look like?
For me, I think healthy is you have a generation of artists, whether it's mainstream or underground, that are dropping good quality stuff and just being consistent with the work.
And do you reckon it's happening in the mainstream now?
In the mainstream, in the mainstream, maybe not as much as the quote-unquote underground, but I think even the word underground might need examination, because I feel like right now, there isn't necessarily an underground because of the internet, someone like a Denzel Curry or Griselda have their fan base to the point where if they become popular enough, they're not necessarily underground, but they're not mainstream either. It's kind of like a weird kind of purgatory for them. So I don't necessarily think there's as much of underground now as there was maybe 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. So in that respect, I think healthy is just these artists coming together, dropping just amazing projects and being consistent with their work. It's not necessarily like culture-shifting albums a la Illmatic or Reasonable Doubt, but it's just like some of the best artists maybe hip-hop's ever seen, just dropping consistent work and continuing to grow their fan bases, expand their musical horizons, and essentially just fly the flag for hip-hop, basically.
That's healthy, but I don't know if that equates to a golden era, though. I think for the reasons that you just stated with regards to the Reasonable Doubts and the Illmatics and just that era and the albums that came from that era, like you can clearly see what those albums became and the influence that came from those albums versus what's being released now. Can you honestly say that there are albums being released now or have been within like the last 5-10 years that are going to impact and influence things that are going to happen in the next decade?
Well,
and if you can't, then I don't know if we can say golden era.
Well, here's the thing. Is the definition of a golden era simply artists dropping culture-shifting work, stuff that's going to be remembered in 5-10 years' time?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I think we're in a golden age now? No. I think what we're getting confused is hip-hop being the biggest genre in the world with, what's you going to say?
I think there's something happening in the UK though.
Okay, cool. And I'll get back to that. Because I think we're in one in the UK now as well, which we'll get back to. I don't think either. I think we was, and I think we kind of are shifting away from it.
You've more or less said that, yes.
Yeah. Sorry. But back in the... So go back to America. I think there's a difference between rap being the biggest genre in the world and us living through a golden age. Has it been bigger than it's ever been now? You could argue no. But when I look at golden ages, I specifically look at what's come out of it, if that makes sense, the quality of music that's come out of it. If you ask me the last golden age we've had in hip-hop, I would say the early 2010s. When the
golden age?
Not golden age, but one of them. When we had the Coles, the Drakes, the Kendricks, regardless of the music, we had certain people that's coming out. If you look at now, and you look at the music, we had the Good Kid, Mad City come back out then, where what was his mixtape called? Cole's last mixtape.
Friday Night Lights
back then. We had a Big Sean. Regardless of the caliber of the artist, the music was better. Do you know what I mean? Back then, whether it was Wale dropping something, Meek dropping something, MMG, there was just new faces around and the quality of the music was at a certain level. Whereas I think when you look at it now, I don't think the music that's coming out equates to a golden era.
I still don't think that equates to a golden era, man.
I think, but
we've got the examples. We've got the examples of what the hell a golden era looks like.
You say 2000s had a golden era.
When?
I'm asking you.
Nah.
So you think the last golden era had within the 90s?
Yeah.
That's why you're an old head.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm
That's
not
so
saying,
unfair.
No,
You don't think we've had...
Hold on. I'm not saying we haven't had fucking amazing albums that have come out, but the time frames in which those amazing albums have come out, like within the 2000s, hasn't spanned the same amount of time as the 90s.
What do you mean?
Like, for instance, like you had amazing albums from like, I think there's been a couple of golden eras. You had the first one, which was like 86 to like 93.
Yeah.
And then you had from like 93 to like 99 maybe. You could argue maybe.
I follow you.
And then after that, I don't think so. I don't think there's been a span of time within the 2000s where culture shifting albums were being released.
I think
you've had small little pockets where dope albums were being released, but not long enough for it to be considered a golden era though. I don't think. Actually, no, I won't even say that. But yeah, I just don't think like there's been like the pockets have been long.
I don't
enough.
necessarily think that a golden era should be equated to an era where culture shifting albums are going to be dropped every week.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, in fact, let me even take that back. I wouldn't even say it was from 93 to 99. That's probably way too long.
That it wasn't.
It's probably from like...
I'd probably say 98. 97, 98.
I think when Big Dad.
97 then.
97.
Yeah.
I mean, DMX, I think you can count DMX.
I think that was another era.
Oh, you think it was another era?
Yeah.
All right, fair. Yeah, I just feel like those culture shifting albums are great and all that stuff. I think with that, not that we've gotten greedy, but our understanding of a golden era has probably been warped a little too much by the idea and the notion that a golden era has to be when culture shifting / genre defining albums are released, rather than, consistent artists dropping consistent work over the years and, everyone doing that in kind of unison.
I think that's what we had in the 2010s.
But I would say that maybe not necessarily golden era, but it's an era where, the scene and hip hop generally, the genre, is doing quite well. You know what I'm saying? If like Denzel and Griselda and, Drake, Kendrick, Big Sean, all these people are dropping consistent bodies of work, whatever your opinion is, at the same time, something's happening. It might not necessarily be a golden era by someone's definition, but it depends what the definition is. But there's something to be said about that era. There's something to be said about that generation where we're getting consistent, great work from all of these artists at the same time.
I think we probably have to split it between the overground and the underground. Mainstream and the underground. Because I think there was definitely something golden to like the era of the underground where Rock Marciano, Action Bronson, Griselda, all them men were doing what they were doing. There was something special there for sure. We can call that a golden era. Maybe.
I think you could though.
But because it wasn't so consistent, that's why I don't know if I can consider it a golden era. Because Rock Marciano was doing his thing before Griselda came along. He was doing his thing like in pockets. Do you know what I mean? And then Griselda came along and were doing it for like. Do you know what
I was gonna say? I think the 80s obviously set the benchmark. The 90s then surpassed it. I think if we're gonna have a golden era by like one example or one definition, what's happening in any particular time after the 90s would probably have to be as good, if not better. But really and truly, you're probably not going to reach that level because by that time, hip-hop was still fit. There was still a lot of room for hip-hop to be this behemoth of a genre that has cultural importance. Whereas now, the rigmarole and the room for it is very small. Like, if you think of people who move the culture now, depending on who you ask, some people will say Kendrick, some people will say Drake, some people will say Future, some people will say Migos. So it just depends on who you're asking. But they're not necessarily going to be a Nas Illmatic or a Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt or, those sort of monumental and sentimental albums that have also grown with time.
So do you think we've had a golden era since the 90s? Just mainstream? If I had to ask you, have we had a golden era?
Mainstream, probably not. I mean...
I think you're going to have to say
50 Cent's era was a golden era. In the mainstream.
For 50?
For 50.
Yeah.
For 50.
That's not a golden era though.
Well, I think you have to say, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sticking on, I think 2010s has to be. When you've got so many artists. 2010s? Good Kid Mad City. Mm-hmm. Section 80. Mm-hmm. Damn.
Go on.
And what's the other one?
That's not a golden era, bro.
Dark Fantasy.
It's so Dark Twisted. I'm not talking about.
That's not enough.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the albums. I'm talking about the artists that came through.
That don't count as a golden era.
How though?
The golden era is because of the albums,
Is Kendrick one of the best ever?
Yes.
Is Cole one of the best ever?
You could argue it.
Is Rick Ross one of the best ever?
No.
No?
But he was dropping good.
That's my point.
Good to great work.
Around 2010s, he was dropping the Teflon Dons. Kendrick was dropping.
Oh, bro.
My point is the abundance of new artists that we have that still are here 10, 15 years later.
Don't matter.
Me personally, I'm just saying, I look at that and it has to be. When you've got 9 artists that come out in the space of 11, 12 months. Because even Game was dropping albums in 2011, which were great, in my opinion. They were great albums he dropped in 2011 and 2013.
Yeah, and again, like the 2010s as a decade from 2010 to 2019.
I won't even say
I probably wouldn't say that.
I'll say
but
full
maybe like
2010 to 2015.
If you want to do it, then maybe like 2010 to 2015, maybe.
I think so.
Okay, you know what? I just thought about something, and it's probably unfair, innit? I think holding on to the 90s and what the 90s did and what the 90s produced is probably unfair for like artists that come out after that, because you have to look at what was being done when those artists from the 90s were doing what they were doing. They were doing things that hadn't been done yet. They were advancing sounds in a way that hadn't been done yet. So the artists that come out afterwards, it's very difficult to not do what's already been done in it.
Yeah.
But that's no one's fault.
But that's why...
So, regardless, bruv, it still is what it is. I know it's unfair, but it still is what it is.
That means we're never going to have another prime.
No, because you could still have a pocket where the exact same span as the 90s happens in another time, and you just have all these jaw-dropping albums that are released and start shifting shit. That can still happen, and then we can say, all right, yeah, boom, another golden era. But where you have like in the 2010s, yeah, you might have had like in 2010 where Kendrick drops the same year as Kanye dropped. Drake might have dropped an album the same year, but maybe it was a bit below par. Cole might have dropped an album the same, but it was below par. That's still not enough. You would need more within that 2010s period.
I understand, but
there was a lot going on in that 2010 period.
I'm not saying it's not, but the music though, bro.
I'm talking about the artists.
But that's what we focus. It's not the artists, it's the music.
And I think the music was...
Bro, there are artists from the 90s that we don't talk about today. Really. They didn't have long careers, but they dropped albums that shaped shit.
No, and I understand. I just think the 2010s artists that came through...
No one's talking about Black Moon today.
No one's talking about Black Moon.
You're talking about Moon today.
But you get what I'm saying, though. But they dropped an amazing album, though.
This guy really well.
But they're part of the golden era, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I think the definition is skewed because of what you just said, to your point. Like, there's so much that they could have done in the 90s and the 80s that probably won't be repeated in the 2010s and now.
If you're a female rapper, you had no one the whole of 2000s. And then you had Nicki in 2010s. Mm-hmm. That might be a golden era to a female.
No, she was the only one.
No, this
unfortunately.
I think we're living in the golden era now for the ladies.
Yeah, I think so. I'd say more so that now.
Fair enough. But I'm saying, imagine if you was a female rapper, you have no one, and then 2010s Nicki come, and then cool, we're back now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think there was so much that happened in 2010s that even if it's for the short 4 years,
there were moments. We had a lot of moments, but bro, that doesn't. I don't think that equates to a golden era.
And the reason why I think it does is because I genuinely don't think we've had one since.
But
I think that I would always give it to that because them 2010s to 2014, 15, there was so many albums, so many artists, there was so much going on that to me, I would always look at it as...
I personally think the term golden era can be interpreted in whatever way. I think it can be interpreted in a way of this is an era when the culture was changing and the culture was being shifted by all these albums and all these bodies of work.
In a positive way.
In a positive way. I mean, sometimes in a negative way as well. But you can also say, if we're talking about today, it's an era where some great work it's just great work coming out every year from like January to December for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think you could also argue that. And I think that was the original premise of Crate's tweet. Are we living in a golden era right now? I don't want to assume, but I don't think Cam thinks that, you know, the culture's being shifted necessarily in the same way that it was in the 90s, especially someone who lived during that time and lived to see it. But there's a lot of work coming out from like mainstream, quote unquote artists, quote unquote underground artists that are just of a higher level that it demands the term or something close to a golden era because there's just great work being dropped from all centers, left, right, center, everywhere. You know what I mean? So I think it can be interpreted. It depends on how you look at it. I think if we're just going to put it as the era when the culture was shifted, Illmatic, you know, Follow the Leader, all these other albums, for me, it might be a little bit too rigid because by that logic, we're never going to have another golden era sort of thing because hip-hop has moved along so much.
That's not true, though.
But I think hip-hop has moved along so much, unless you're a very special artist, how are you going to move the culture? On a cultural level. I think mainstream-wise, there's still a lot to do. Like, that's why whenever Drake drops, he breaks records and he moves culture in that regard. In terms of the actual art form of hip-hop,
I think it's been done quite a lot since the 90s, though. You have the Kanye West, the Tyler creators that, like, experiment with sound in a way that we haven't seen before. So they are very special artists, and they're artists that, within their own pocket and their own bag, they push shit forward. There's just not many doing it at the same time that they're doing it, which is why we don't have a golden era. It's that pocket thing. If you've got individual artists doing it at particular times, then it doesn't equate to a whole era. It just, you have singular moments, which isn't enough to say golden era. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. That's not to say that we haven't had special artists since the 90s. We've had a lot.
No, of course we have.
You could argue that you lot might not believe it, but I probably enjoy way more albums after the 2000s than I did in the 90s.
You're right, we don't believe you.
No, we know that. No. I believe him.
I don't.
Yeah, bro.
Most of it's R&B, so it's fine.
Yeah, you're right.
No, but even
and it stops at 20.
Rap though.
Yeah, it stops at 2015 as well.
Whatever, man.
2010.
But rap though. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's just a singular thing, innit? It's just a pocket thing. If we can get to a place where, you know, we have like a good 4 to 5 years of like amazing albums dropping, then we can have this golden era conversation again.
By how many artists though? Because you talk about people, one person not equating to a whole era. So how many artists does it need to be to equate to an era?
It won't be as much as the 90s, because the 90s was just a different time, innit?
Yeah.
But like, give me like 6, 7 artists, then we can have the conversation. But giving me like the same 2 or 3. Nah, man.
I hear you, but I'm looking at 2010s now and I'm taking it, man.
Go on and throw some albums. That
2010, we got Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
We got Teflon Don.
Yeah.
And we got Thank Me Later.
Bro, Teflon Don is not.
I think Teflon Don's
it's a great album, but it's not.
I think Teflon Don's a classic.
It's not enough to like.
I think Teflon Don's a classic. I genuinely.
I don't think it's a classic. It's a great
album.
album.
I don't know if it's a classic.
I mean, if you have to give Rick Ross one classic album, to me, we Teflon.
But here's the thing.
Teflon's an amazing album.
That's what we do.
It didn't
that's
do
what we
much
do to
else,
artists, though. And that's what we're doing to artists now, post 2010. We're giving them one classic, even though it's not a classic. We did it to Cole. We did it to Drake. We're doing it to Ross.
I didn't give Drake any. I don't think Drake's
Forest Hill Drive is being given to Cole.
I don't think it is though. I sincerely think Teflon Don is. I don't think any of Drake's.
Can I ask you a question?
But Take Care is his classic. Classic.
My point is, but I think
not every artist needs a classic.
You're right, but I think Teflon's way more of a conversation than.
And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you said that.
Sometimes you can just have really good albums. And that's it.
But that's why I feel like. But that's why I feel like you could argue that now is a golden era, because even if people aren't dropping classics, they're dropping consistent, very good albums. People like Vince Staples, people like Rock Marcy, people like Earl Sweatshirt, people like Griselda. They're dropping consistently good to great albums.
That's still relatively.
Bro,
I don't think that's unanimous though, bro. That's still relatively subjective. The 90s was unanimous. There were not many albums in the 90s that you would argue weren't good albums. It was more of a collective decision that, all these albums are fucking amazing. And that's why I don't think you could raise that argument.
I think you can, because ultimately, music is subjective. He's saying that music isn't better than it was back then, and that's his opinion. I think we can be subjective when it comes to all of this. As much as we try to be objective, it probably isn't going to be possible.
But it also comes a point in time where it's just like, it's written in stone. It's not subjective. It is what it is.
And
it's only
we can't escape that all the time.
I mean, it's only objective if the majority agree, right?
Which is the 90s, right?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
But I don't think that's fair, though.
There you go.
But I'm just saying, I agree that the 90s was the peak.
And I also think...
If we're going to always compare to the 90s, bro, we're never going to admit we had...
It's not about comparing it to the 90s, though.
It is.
But I also think that fan bases have diversified. I think hip-hop fans and opinions have diversified since the 90s. I feel like with the 90s, because you probably didn't hear as many fans sound off about what they think is hot and what they think is not. Whereas now you have the internet, you have social media, you can hear from everybody and their uncle what they think is hot and what's not. That's probably muddied the waters in that regard too. So maybe there were people back in the 90s that thought, hey, this shit wasn't it. And we didn't hear it. Whereas now we can hear everything.
But the majority feel a certain way about the albums that came out within that time, as well as the critics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas nowadays, we could love Pusha T's album, but Pitchfork can be like, yeah, nah. The Guardian might be like, yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone can be like, yeah, nah. In the 90s, you didn't really have that.
But that's why it's harder now.
Rare.
But that's why it's harder now. That's why it's harder now for anything to be deemed a golden era, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. So you're saying we haven't had any from the 90s? Yemi?
I don't want to say golden era right now, but we're going through something right now.
Is this the first
if I was gonna give one, then I'll say what Griselda or Rock Marcy were doing on the underground.
What year?
See, now I can't do it because what Rock Marcy was doing was different to when Griselda they weren't doing it at the same time. So yeah, I can't even do that then.
And you say 2010?
I would say if I had to, I'll say 2010 to about 14, 15. Just the amount of, I don't think...
You're going to rethink that.
No, I'm telling you, when you sit on that amount of artists that came through them 3, 4, 5 years, I just remember it like it was yesterday. From even just when I say golden era, I'm not comparing. Musically, 90s is always going to win. But when there's a 3, 4 year period where Meek's coming through, Wale's coming through, and then you got Cole coming through, and then
So
got
what if they're coming
but
through?
my point
What are
is,
they dropping?
And this one, I'm going to tell you why though, because if you look at it 05, 06, 07, 08, it was a very stagnant period. Take away Kanye, take away 50. My point is, we went through a period in hip hop in the 2000s where it was garbage.
Let me tell you what Mo's doing.
Yeah,
let me tell you what Mo's
did
doing.
we not go through a peak
Let me tell you what
2000s
Mo's doing.
at any point? Did we
Mo's
not?
Mo's equating hotness and excitement to a golden era when the music isn't backing that up. Meek's first album weren't all that. Wale's first album weren't all that. J. Cole's first album. Hold on. J. Cole's first album weren't all that. What are we doing here?
We're not gonna. I thoroughly enjoyed Ambition. I don't know what you want to tell you. Sorry for that.
That wasn't his first album though.
Wale's
Attention Deficit.
Wale's.
That was Attention Deficit was his first one. And it weren't all that.
But what year did that come out? I'm talking about when he got signed to MMG. That was 2010.
Okay, Ambition was all right.
I liked Ambition.
So yeah, it was all right.
And I liked Dreams
But
and
this is what I'm saying, subjectivity though.
But
Bro.
my point is fully subjective.
If he loves all the albums that came out within that time, of course he's gonna be like, oh yeah, golden era.
No, but
that's not reality.
My point is, we was going through a bit of poverty in hip hop. There was a period we was going through poverty, and I feel like 2010.
What year was that?
I would say about 08, 07, 08. There was a period where
Wayne was holding shit down. It weren't poverty.
Carter 4 was whack to me.
The mainstream.
No. Carter 4 hadn't happened at that point.
Carter 4 came out 2010, 2009.
You just said 07, 08.
Oh, what year did Carter 3 come out?
Carter 3 was 08. I think Carter 4 was 11. I think.
Carter 4. Yeah. Carter 4 was black to me. I genuinely think there was a period of hip hop into 2000. I need to double check.
It was like 06. In the mainstream, it was like 06.
There was a period where it was shaky.
In 94,
we went through a period
DJ
of shaky.
Premier produced an album for Group Home. 3.5 stars at the very least. What are we doing here?
It was a great album.
The beats were banging though.
Beats were fantastic.
There we go. That's more than half the album.
I'm saying, we could put this on TikTok. I think through the 2010s to about 14, 15, we had an alright period. Whatever you want to call it, golden age, non-golden age, syrup age, whatever you might want to call it. We had a 4-year period where I thoroughly enjoyed music.
Bronze age.
Let's give it silver.
I give it.
Can we give it silver?
I give it.
That man ain't bronze. A good kid came out of it at least. It's not bronze. Silver, we all agree.
I'm not agreeing on that, man. I got to think about that.
Yeah, I have to think about that as well.
We went for to me, 2010s is the last. Now I don't think we are at all. I think if we had to look back at any year, I'll say the 2010s are about 14, 15.
All right. Well, before we wrap up this topic,
Group Home's album was at least three
This
stars.
guy.
it wasn't, man.
What?
Just off the beats alone,
100%.
it wasn't just a 3-star.
Oh, you're
I can't do it. I'll give it 2.5.
2.5.
The rest has to give
Oh,
the rest. And I love Primo, but I'm sorry, but the beats can't be the only thing that drives an album to 3 stars.
You're
Yeah,
bugging.
nah, I'm good, bro.
Primo in the 90s? Yeah, man.
But not everything Primo did in the 90s was amazing.
No, but like between like 91 to like 96, I don't know, man. Primo,
I don't think everything
Primo
he did
might
was
have been
amazing.
like undefeated, but
I don't think everything he did was amazing, but it's cool. Before we wrap up,
Well, salute to DJ
what did you want to
from
say about the UK?
I just said that I feel like the last few years it's kind of felt like something's happening here, man. I feel like the albums, the way artists like Dave and Sims are constructing albums, man, it's just something I don't think the UK has seen before. I know Kano's given us a lot of great albums, but there's just something different about the way, especially Sims. There's just a lot more themes, and there's just a lot more like time and effort being put into it, and the musicality is just on a crazy level. So it feels like something is happening here.
I think we are experiencing what the 80s/90s was for America right now. And we're going to find new artists and artists who've been like grinding for so long in the underground, then rise to the surface and drop amazing work for a few years yet. So I agree in that respect. It's still a lot of catching up to do, but we're definitely getting there, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely going there.
The UK had a golden generation as well.
Had.
Like 2015 times.
Had.
Yeah. I said it, music media now.
You did say that.
Hey, some people want to copy. No. No one there, man. I'm never doing that.
Listen, man. It's homage.
Yeah, exactly.
Homage my ass.
It's homage.
I say my name.
It's homage. Why is it only homage when you like it?
We say?
Why is it only homage when you like it?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Fans need to answer a lot for their crimes, if I'm being honest with you.
We do, innit?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
You lot,
We absolutely do.
you lot don't accept shit just because you don't like shit.
We absolutely do.
So it is what it is. But shout out to fans. And shout out to everybody trying to make this thing a golden age, even if it isn't.
Hey, man.
That was great.
Right. We're going to move on to the second topic now, and we're going to be talking about the ladies. Obviously, lady MCs, lady rappers have been a thing since day one, really. To, varying degrees of success and all that good stuff. But we were thinking about the idea of like supergroups. I know we've talked about supergroups before, but we want to kind of slant it into the perspective of like the ladies and why we haven't necessarily seen lady/female rap supergroups either here in the UK or in the US, and why that might be. So, boys, what do we think?
Man, I mean, it's hard enough for like, female MCs to come into the game and, get a certain level of attention and to be taken serious in a certain manner, man. So imagine if you as a singular artist struggle to do that, what the hell do you think it's going to be like if you try and come in as part of an all-female rap group? It's probably going to be very, very difficult, man. So there's probably a lot of politics that go into that, why we haven't seen it. As well as the fact that the industry is very quick to, pit women against each other. So I imagine that would also be the case if we had an all-female group. So there may be people that just don't want to deal with all of that, man. So they maybe feel like, let me bust through the door real quick by myself. And then if I do want to like bring anyone else in, then I'll try and do that. But I don't know, man. I think it's probably our fault, though, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. I think this rap game has taught us that self-preservation is the key. And as you say, it's hard for someone who is a woman coming in the game to come in the game as just like a solo artist in and of itself. So imagine trying to get, 3 people together, 3 other people, 2 other people, 4 other people together to try and do it as well. It's another set of challenges to kind of overcome. Obviously there was Salt and Pepper and, those kind of early girl groups. But, they only lasted so long for whatever reason. And yeah, I think, man, like, I'm not going to say we ain't shit, but...
We ain't shit.
We make it very, very, very hard, generally, because it's a man's game, rap generally. Really and truly, up until recently, we've only ever really let one woman in at a time, whether it's Kim or Foxy or Nikki.
Kim and Foxy were here at the same time.
Yeah, even still, one more person.
Salt and Pepper and MC Light were together at the same time.
Cool.
Roxanne Shante too.
Yeah, but where are they now?
Somewhere, enjoying life.
We hope.
Somewhere out there. Yeah,
we hope.
Fully. But obviously not to the same extent, innit?
Yeah.
So, and it's unfortunate because these are all talented MCs, like Roxanne Shante, MC Light, Queen Latifah, Kim, Foxy, all talented people. But obviously bogged down by all the politics that comes with being a hip-hop artist generally. There was Moulin Rouge, but, that's whatever.
Or Ladies' Night with Angie Martinez. Lisa
Damn.
Left Eye, Lil Kim, Missy.
They gave Angie a verse,
I think it was Angie's tune. Wasn't it Angie's tune?
It was Angie's tune.
Yeah.
And then she also had... No, it wasn't her tune.
You sure?
I read her book. She was on... I think it was Kim's song.
I don't think so.
And they told her, I read her book. Unless I just got it wrong. But I think it was a thing where come to the set. But I know they told her you've got a verse and she was surprised about it.
Okay.
Like,
I think Jay might have wrote a verse, I think Jay was writing for a bit.
The guy remember she had a guy next to her that just sounded like Jay-Z.
I can't remember.
Angie Martinez, she had one song, If I Could Go.
Oh, yeah.
And that one brother was sounding like Jay-Z the whole verse.
Yeah.
Angie got busy though. But
Angie got busy.
We really allowed Angie Martinez to rap, didn't we?
She got a great book though, you should read it.
Why?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
She needs to release them 2-pack interviews.
She does, man, but she's never going to do it. She's never going to
she
do it.
do that, man.
But Mo, what do you think about this whole thing?
I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I think there's a number of reasons why. I think if you're a female trying to come into the game and you already know how much headache it is, it's only going to double up. It's a group. Like, if you go back to what Lotto said, which was like she tried to get a verse of someone, and then the person was like, for you to get a verse, you have to do certain things to me. Like it was a big wrap up, but she hasn't said who. Can you imagine if you're a group and you're trying to get through? Do you know what I mean? It's just going to double up. Whatever they go through as one, it's just going to double up as two. And I think the way hip hop is set up and the way the media set up is it's only going to become a matter of time before they pit each other against each other. I know City girls haven't gone for it.
They'll make someone the Beyonce.
Or someone
group,
exactly where
the Kelly Rowland of the group.
Exactly, like little stuff like if you got one that's light skin or dark skin, they might try. Do you know what I mean? The way you're gonna have to get them to fit is almost perfect before they come out to us. Because any little thing that the public or the media can pick up on, they will. And I think that's what I genuinely think it is. I don't think it's got anything to do with talent. It's definitely got nothing to do with talent. It's all politics. It just doesn't make sense.
I think it's just society and rap being a microcosm of that, having an issue with women kind of determining their own narrative and determining their own story. Obviously, we've had girl groups. I'm trying to think. There was one.
JJ Fad.
Were they rap?
Ish, yeah.
Were they on Ruthless?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, the banger as well, I think. But and even in the UK, they've been like even before then. I'm trying to remember what the group was called. I read an article about it in The Guardian like a couple months ago. But there was a girl group in the UK that basically had the same problems. They weren't taken seriously as MCs because they were women. And even though they kind of faded into obscurity, the fact that they've been written about in The Guardian like 30 years later just shows the impact. The fact that they weren't about to let people's perception of them kind of just fuck up their journey. So you do have elements of that. I suppose now, especially in the last like maybe decade or so with like post Nicki, it's been maybe a little bit harder up until we got Cardi and Meg and City Girls and all these people. But they're still very much like solo artists. And it seems as if like all women collaborations happen a dime a dozen really. Like kind of more of a moment, like a commemorative moment. I'll look at all these women here in one place rather than like a proper like group sort of thing. And yeah, I suppose we just got to look ourselves. Rap needs to look itself in the mirror and be like, why is that? Why have we created a kind of environment where it's hard enough for women as it is to come into the game, but also to come together and band together? What is it about that makes us so fearful? Or
it's weird, isn't it?
It's mad weird.
Because I've never really understood it. It's just a very weird concept where it seems like the male infrastructure is somewhat threatened by like women coming together in the game somewhat. But I mean, let's pose the argument in another way. Like, go on. I'm just trying to think of the best way to word this, isn't it?
Word it, bro.
It's probably gonna get me in trouble.
Okay, do your thing, man. We live for this. We're trying to take this thing to the next level.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Do female MCs get along?
What is that?
Do female MCs get along?
I think so. But to Mo's point, there are circumstances and factors that probably push them away from each other. Let's take Nicki and Cardi, for instance. They obviously had their beef in like, what, 2018, where they fought at the was it Met Gala? Or Harper's Bazaar? Something. And that's because Nicki liked a tweet that referred to Cardi's kid being harmed or something, allegedly. And that's fans basically generating that, in a way. I think maybe there was like that kind of healthy rivalry that MCs have generally. Yeah, in some respect it is. But it then turns into, obviously, are you taking Nicki or are you taking Cardi? Are you taking this? Are you taking their skills? Or are you taking their skills, sort of thing? It becomes more territorial because you're being forced, or you're actively choosing which one rather than rooting for the both of them, even though like they're both going towards the same goal of like making hip hop better. So I think they do get along. We've seen that they do, but they also can't get along in some respects. But that isn't always their fault.
So we created that. We created that narrative of there must only be one queen.
I think so.
At any one given time.
I think so.
But I think it's only with a certain type of female MC though, because you never really saw Rhapsody being pitted against Jean Grey, but you would see Kim being pitted against Foxy and Nicki being pitted against Little Kim. It's when when you come in a certain type of mold. It's more. I think it's more the mainstream female MCs that. They own their sexuality, and they're not only good with the bars, but they look great as well. It's those ones that are more that seem to be pitted against the others that are also in that vein, and that's where the competition comes in. And I think that's probably like the labels and the artists that those artists are signed to that probably do that.
And you could also argue that those artists are more
And
visible.
sorry, and because Missy was never pitted against anyone, but I think it's because of the type of MC that she. I think it's because of the type of MC that she was.
Well, let's say
But then
how
all the dolls, they probably are pitted against each other at one given time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, all the sexy female MCs and rappers, they're the ones who are the most visible to the mandem. Male rap fans and, you know, people who enjoy rap pretty much, like, and you're looking at it from a mainstream sense and a kind of more elevated level. So I think in that regard, for some reason, there does need to be only one. Maybe post like Kim and Foxy, there needs to be just the one because of whatever reason. I couldn't possibly tell you. But there was a shift. Maybe they saw two confident female rappers who were sexy and could bar Foxy and Kim and didn't like it and decided that there only needed to be one. I don't know why.
And they were actually cool at one point.
And they were cool.
But there was always that. You're right.
But what changed that though? What changed it?
What, Kim and Foxy?
Yeah. What changed that?
I think it was the people that was behind them, a la Nas and Big, and Jay as well, and then competition. But I think it was more the labels, and then it became personal.
So competition basically, in some respects, friendly competition can foster contempt.
Because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have started because on one tour, I think either Foxy did not want to open up for Kim, or Kim didn't want to open up for Foxy. And that's where the tension started. Somewhere like that. I might be completely wrong, but I remember hearing that.
Hard Knocks tour way before.
It might have been a No Way Out tour, you know. It might have been a No Way Out tour. Yeah. If it weren't a No Way Out tour, then it was just before that.
If it's a No Way Out tour, then Foxy's got to open up for Kim. Come on, man.
Yeah. But look, I mean, look it up, I might be completely wrong, but
I think I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go on, bro.
But I do think a lot of white females being pitted. I think it was always that stigma of they can only be number one. They could only be one. But when you look at, it's a tricky thing because Missy never got that. Eve never got that. I don't remember.
And even like when MC Light and them were doing their thing and Queen Latifah and that, they weren't really put against each other. And I think it's because of the type of MCs that they were.
Yeah, because they could. It's a weird one because.
And Lauren's never been put against any other MC.
That's because.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. There's something weird going on there.
She disappeared after one album, fam.
Relax.
Respectfully, she
relax.
She had Unplugged.
Come on now, fam. You know, how can you beef someone? Because you imagine you're trying to beef Lauren.
Bro.
Yo, link up. I'm gonna write a diss for you. You get to the studio.
You get the point I'm trying to make, though, innit?
We get a diss 6 years later. She can't keep up. I love you, Lauren.
From this guy, man. It's Miss Hill to you, bro.
It is Miss Hill to me, innit? It is Miss Hill to me. I love you, Miss Hill. But I do think it comes down to just that there can be that one. But I reckon, even though it's going to sound crazy, post Nicki and Cardi, I do think it is changing now with female rappers where there's clearly there could be more than one. And I think it's only now we've just got there, which is ridiculous because it's 2022. But I sincerely think we've only now just got to an acceptance of, yeah, we can have one rap, Meg go for number one, then Cardi go number one, then Nicki, then any of the Brats or the Dolls or whoever. Do you know what I mean?
There is still a divide though between like the more sexier female MCs and the ones that don't focus on their sex appeal. There is a conscious effort to divide the two and not bring them together.
But that's hip hop though.
Because
there's a divide between the conscious rapper and a Future.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? Yeah. You're never going to see Future rap with a conscious guy.
Okay.
And there's always going to be that divide is always there in hip hop. If what you sell is in the mainstream, you're always going to have some people on the other side.
Yeah, that might be more sympathetic.
You might have Lupe. You might have a Lupe. Do you know what I mean? That divide is never going to be crossed.
Yeah, Drake's not collaborating with Lupe.
Exactly. So I understand. I think with females and with males, we've always going to have that problem of whatever the mainstream are talking about, you're always going to have the conscious people on the other side.
See, and remember the conspiracy episode we have. You man were looking at me like I was mad when I was saying, listen, bruv, there's a concentrated effort, to make sure that certain things are not put in our conscious are coming to the mainstream. When you're looking at the certain artists that are not coming together, there's no reason why they shouldn't, You got to look a bit deeper.
Yeah, but some people think about the bottom line rather than message. And if the bottom line is the bottom dollar, then...
Because Nicki can spit, right?
Nicki can definitely spit.
It would be great for her to spit with Rhapsody. Why not?
But why won't she? Someone of her power and someone of her stature that can collab with anybody that she wanted to, why doesn't she?
I don't know.
Maybe Rhapsody doesn't want to.
Rhapsody would probably want to rap
Rhapsody
with
would do
Nicki.
that, man.
Rhapsody's an MC's MC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Rhapsody
She would
would
want
do
to.
that.
She would want to do that. She would want to do that. And some of these new rappers, whether they're male or female, probably wouldn't want to get blown on their own song by someone who's better. Sweetie might not necessarily want to rap with a no name. You know what I'm saying? Because she might look a certain way if she got washed.
So you think Nicki doesn't want to get washed by Rhapsody?
Maybe.
It's similar to what you said though. It's exactly what you said, man. Just like the more lyrical MCs, not necessarily matching with the ones that
You're always gonna have that divide in hip hop.
My thing is, you also got to look at the rappers themselves. Like, they've got the power to collab with these people. All it takes is a reach out. Why don't they? So as much as you say it's the labels and the conspiracy, like I said in that episode, do we not need to look at ourselves?
Yeah, we do.
And what we're doing,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
But that's what I said. It comes down to what you're about as an artist. If all you care, do you know what I mean? It just comes down to who you are as an artist. Some people generally ain't here for messages being spoken every day.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Like, it makes perfect sense for Sweetie to collab with a Doja Cat, but look at what the game would say and how shaken up maybe the game would be if she was to collab with a Rhapsody or a No Name or Sims, sort of thing.
100%.
That would be a lot more interesting, and it would show more unity in that regard.
But you need to look at Sweetie's fans.
Yeah.
You know
So okay, so is that the
But
same?
Sweetie's fans probably think she can rap though.
But we how can I put it? Rhapsody's fans know rap. Sweetie knows what's going on. She ain't gonna wanna. It's just too out there for her. It's like way too left.
Maybe.
My fan base, icy, so icy, whatever she says.
But I would say that someone like Meg could probably hold her own on a song with Rhapsody. Because I think Meg is a good
I think
rapper.
Meg can. I just don't think Sweetie can ever hold a torch to her. Like Sweetie can't hold a torch. Like
To Rhapsody?
you cannot come within 16 feet of her.
Meg's not holding her own Rhapsody, bro.
I think so.
Absolutely not.
I think
Meg is
so.
one conversation. Sweetie,
Rhapsody is smoking her
bro,
boots.
there's no
I
way.
think Meg is.
I can't lie, if this the
I think
Victoria
Meg
line,
is. I think we get bogged down by what she talks about.
No,
But she
not
can-
at all. No. I listen. With the flows, all that. Nah, man, Rhapsody will smoke her boots, bro.
I don't know about smoke.
No, what?
I don't know about smoke. And that's not a dig
Bro,
on Rhapsody.
Rhapsody's like
That's not a dig on Rhapsody. That's not a dig on Rhapsody.
male or female. Rhapsody's like one of the illest doing it today, bro. She's smoking a lot of people's boots.
she smoked cold.
So what the hell do you think she's doing to Meg?
Smoked cold, bro. She smoked cold, so general. Like smoked him.
Okay.
And I'm a cold. Yeah, she's smoking, Meg. I take it back. You're right.
Fam,
Yeah,
she's smoking, yeah, man.
It's dirty. Yeah, it's dangerous.
And she held her on with Black Thought, bro.
She did hold her on Black 4.
I think Meg could hold her own against Rhapsody.
Hey, man.
You can look at me where you
What
want, Pete.
WrestleMania fight was that? 0.
You can look at me where you like, Pete.
I'm not looking at you in any way. Relax. I'm just
Look
looking
at me, are you?
You're talking. Can I not look at you as you're
I
talking?
wasn't talking.
You were just saying that you said that's your thing, innit?
What WrestleMania match was that? 0.2 seconds. Daniel Bryan wasn't it?
Oh, Seamus.
Yeah, literally, that's what would happen with this mega case.
Don't do that.
Let's quick, bam, let's go.
Hey, man.
Like, come on, man. Rhapsody to me is
No, listen.
top 5.
I'm not saying all this to downgrade Rhapsody. I just think Meg needs a little bit of upgrading because I feel like she gets a bad rep because of what she talks about.
I don't think so, man.
I'm not saying she raps, but she can rap.
Rhapsody raps though. Like, I think we need to put more respect on Rhapsody's name,
I've
bro.
been saying Rhapsody's in my top 5 for the longest.
Like, Rhapsody raps, like.
No one's saying she can't.
No, but you just said that. He just said, do you think Meg raps? You said, nah, she don't rap. Rhapsody
can
raps though. So
Okay.
if someone, how you putting someone that raps against someone that don't rap?
So you're telling me that no one. So you're telling me.
right?
So you're telling me that no one that just raps has never held their own against someone who can rap.
No.
I don't believe
Hold
that.
their own. Do
Hold their
alright,
own.
cool. Hold your own ain't.
What's the difference between holding your own and doing all right?
Yeah, I was gonna agree.
You still get smoked when you do alright.
And arguably, you could get smoked if you hold your own. But I'm saying she could hold her own. I don't think there's a difference between all right and hold your own.
Semantics, man.
Kendrick can rap, right?
Yeah.
Drake can rap.
They both rap.
I don't think Drake's a rap.
What?
I don't class Drake in that rap.
No, Drake raps, B.
Sorry.
No, he
There's no way-
raps.
There's no way
Drake raps.
There's no way Kendrick, Rhapsody, and Drake are all in the same lineage when it comes to rap rapping.
What?
In my opinion, I just don't
Alright.
think he is. I just don't think. plus
Semantics,
he don't-
innit?
Plus, he don't write his bars, but I generally don't think he's. Yeah, I've never looked at Drake as a rap rapper,
Neither have I.
but that's another conversation.
But he can rap.
But my point is, he's held his own against rap rappers.
Drake.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
always will.
That's because you think he can.
I don't think he can rap.
Okay.
But that was backing up your point where someone doesn't necessarily need to be a rap rapper to hold his own.
I can't believe you don't
You know
think
what I
Drake can rap, bro.
Yeah, but I think so. I don't think.
That's backing your.
I don't think 100% of the time someone who is only a rapper can't hold their own against an MC.
Okay.
That's all. That's all. Or do all right, depending on what you want to call it.
But yeah, back to the conversation.
We can agree to disagree.
I think again, it's everything we said. I think it comes down to the time we was in back then, the way they were looked at, everything. It was just, but as hard as it was for a female to come through, it was going to be done with the pain for her.
Also, how many groups do we even get these days, bruv?
It's not a thing anymore.
We don't really get groups like we used to, man. So it's not even that much of a surprise. But you would think because of like, you know, what feels like a bit of a renaissance as far as like, you know, MCs that are women coming into the game, that you would think that, we might get like an all-woman group. That'd be dope. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, because we don't really see groups like that anyway, whether it's even in R&B, we don't even really see groups like that.
Don't you have what's your group?
Do you know what I mean?
You have Tyrese in there, man.
What, TGT?
TGT.
Come on, man.
No, you don't, to be fair.
Do you know what I mean? So
again, it's self-preservation.
do you know what I mean? So
everybody sees the value of being a solo versus being in a group.
And it's more conglomerates. Like, it's more teams now than it is groups.
Yeah.
There's way more teams now than groups. Whether it's
True.
OTF or whatever.
Even the team / conglomerate / collective is kind of fading as well.
1,000%.
If you really deep it.
It's becoming a thing of the past, but it's just going to become... I think what's going to happen is just more solo artists are just going to link up with another solo artist, like how Baby and Dirk did. We're just going to get a lot more of that now than groups. Where two solo artists will link up and make projects together throughout the years rather than a bona fide group. And
one more thing on this hold their own thing. I just thought of a great example.
Go on.
Gunplay on guns and cartoons and cereal.
Yes. Talk about it.
Can Gunplay rap?
No.
Peter, can Gunplay rap?
He gets busy.
He got busy.
He's not on Kendrick's level, but he gets busy though.
But
Can he rap?
I know where he's going with
He's
this.
not in a rap
I know where
conversation.
he's going with this.
Did he hold his own?
He did alright.
Did he hold his own yet, Peter?
I think he did alright though.
Did he hold his own, Peter?
He did alright.
Semantics.
Whatever, man.
Because to be honest with you, Kendrick was on Power Circle and Gunplay's got my favourite verse.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but that's more so preference though. That's not necessarily...
It's all on me.
You're not adding credence to the argument. That's just what you like.
No, I'm saying, do I think someone that can rap can hold his own against a rap person? That's my point. But I think Meg gets one.
21 Savage had the tune with J. Cole, and I love 21 Savage verses more than I like J. Cole's.
So
He held his own though, didn't he?
Yeah, so we agree he can hold it on.
Yeah.
Oh, so we agreed then.
What?
He was arguing about that.
What?
If someone is just a rapper.
No, but in more so in the case of like Rhapsody and Meg. Yeah, that's what my argument was. It's not so much like the people that just rap versus the ones that rap. Of course, like there will always be like you can close the gap somewhat, but not with those two though.
I think so. Because on paper, you might not have thought 21 Savage and J. Cole was possible.
Because of the... Oh, yeah, cool.
That's a fact.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Hey, man.
So, if we wanted to name our fantasy female supergroups, who would they be?
I'm still struggling on my
4
last
members.
one. I'm still struggling on my last one. But, so I've got a name of my group. It's called the 4 Horsewomen. Very imaginative, as you can imagine.
I only acknowledge one 4 Horsewomen. Wrestling fans know who I'm talking about. Drake know who I'm talking about.
Hey, man, what can I say? I thought of it. I definitely took it from WWE.
That's a good name.
That's a dope name. 4 Horsewomen. Come on, what
UFC as
here?
well.
What?
UFC as well. There's a 4 Horsewomen in UFC. I think it's Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, they
two
didn't go.
others.
They were all whack on the UFC.
Okay,
They
fair.
were all whack. I mean, Ronda Rousey she got proven to be a fraud, but I never hit on it. So I'm gonna go with the GOAT to me is Missy Elliott. I think she's the best ever female wise. So I'm definitely gonna have her. I'm gonna have Lauren on it as well. So it's gonna go Missy, Lauren, Rhapsody, and then the 4th one was where I got it tricky. It was out of 2 for me. It was out of Kim and Nicki.
Okay.
And because this person wrote her bars, I'm going with Nicki.
Kim wrote some of her bars.
Some. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my fault. But I hear you. But it was close out of them two. But I'm going to go with... So the 4 I'm going with is Rhapsody, Missy, Nicki, Lauren.
Feel you. I went for Rhapsody.
Oh.
Well, let me preface this with I just went for the bars. Bars. Rhapsody.
Rap.
Rhapsody, Lauryn Hill, Nicki. And I was going to say Kim, but I'm going to go for Foxy.
Bruv, who's producing? That's why I put Missy in my thing.
Who's producing?
Yeah. Missy producing my shit. Come on, you didn't think about that, did you?
good point.
Oh, see? 4 Horsewomen. Sorry.
You're not serious.
So, who cares?
Hey, man, what can I say, man? I just wanted to... Hey, that's actually a dope
I'll
list.
get Primo to give him some beats. You know what
Say
I'm
it one
saying?
more time. What was it again?
Rhapsody, Lauryn Hill, Miss Lauryn Hill, Nicki Minaj, and Foxy Brown.
I like that.
Just because
That's a good list.
I would want to hear them all. Because you got pretty much everything. You got Nicki singing as well. You got Lauren singing as well. And then Rhapsody and Foxy were just... They come with different flavours as well.
Hey, man.
I'd call it flavouring year.
That's a bit disrespectful because one of them can't hear, but what's your...
That was too quick.
Can I just say we're keeping that in? Shake my hands. We're keeping that in. Are
That
you
was too
crazy?
quick. That was too quick.
What? Nah, Pete, you gotta give me that. I'm
No, that was
sorry,
good
you
still.
gotta give me
That
that.
was good.
I'm
That
not
was
giving
good.
you anything, bro.
Yemi,
No, that was good.
you respect it, right?
That was very good.
Thank you very much.
That was very good.
I'm so proud of myself for that one.
Pia, what's your supergroup?
I've got Lauren, Miss Lauren Hill, Rhapsody, Queen Latifah, and Jean Grey.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I like that.
Jean Grey,
Mm-hmm.
left field.
Bloody amazing, mate.
One of the
She
goals.
is very cryptic and coded.
Mm-hmm.
Jean Grey, but
Yeah.
you know we like that
I used to
sometimes.
love Jean Grey, man. I think I appreciated that once. I used to love Jean Grey back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, more the story is, I guess the landscape of hip hop right now probably doesn't cater to not only just female groups, but groups in general. And I suppose it's always going to be hard for a woman MC to bust through. But when they do, so it's going to be a great thing for the genre at
Nice.
large.
Last question. Can I just ask one last question?
Of course you can.
Who's a female goat in your opinion?
You'd have to give it to Missy.
Yeah?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah?
I think we said this in our
It'd be disrespectful not to.
I just wanted to ask. We're all
Yeah,
yeah, man. Salute to Missy again.
yeah, she got it all.
Misdemeanor.
She got it all. If Lauren bothered to do more, she'd probably be it.
Missy
but
and Miss Hill for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
Hey, man.
I think Missy
And then I got Kim.
towers over Miss Hill.
Now I've got Missy first, and then I've got Lauren second, and then I generally have Nikki third. I just think that when you've
Is
held...
it fair to put Lauren for second?
Yeah, when
Is it fair?
you've got the greatest hip-hop album from a female ever.
Is it a hip hop album?
No.
Lost Ones, and that's it.
I just think talent-wise,
You're good at what you
I
do
just
there.
think talent-wise, there's
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lauren's always going to be top two for me. Missy's always going to be the goal.
Oh, it's like
Lauren's
Kyrie.
two, and then I see what we done there. Nikki's going to be third, just because when you ran, she had so long that she had to hold it by herself.
Lauren's probably in my like top 40 MCs just
So you've got
generally, do you know what I mean? So
And then who's third?
I said Missy, Miss Hill, and Kim.
And what did you say?
Missy, Miss Hill, and probably has to be Kim, innit? Kim or Nikki?
Yeah, fair enough. Salute to Kim. I used to be scared. I can't finish it off, man.
Why not?
That's a
I used to
toxic,
be
bro.
scared of the... Now I throw... Nah, that vibe. Why not? I said, like, handle it. Nah, Kim was wilding on that
Just because you
scene.
repeat it doesn't mean you believe it, bro.
I used to be scared of that.
Yeah,
now I
Kim,
throw
it doesn't
lips to the...
It doesn't mean you're scared of it.
What?
Kim
I am
was-
scared of it.
Kim was a freak, bro.
Yo,
Kim
salute
was
to
a
Kim.
freak.
We liked
man.
it, innit?
Yo, I love Kim.
But that's why female rap is popping so much, because we like how
I
much...
still think Missy's the freakiest though.
Missy is a freak, bro. And I don't know if
no
that
one's
people
freakier
understand
than
it.
Missy, man.
Bruv, I remember I saw on Twitter, some guy was like, yeah, Missy doesn't rely on sex. And then one guy quote tweeted and goes, when you've never listened to a Missy edit song ever.
Fam,
Yeah, for
what?
real.
Because the person goes, Missy was one of the only rappers that's never relied on. Because you know people look at her and think she doesn't.
Yeah.
When you really look at, what's 1 minute, man?
Yeah.
A
What's
banger.
1 minute, man, fam?
Yeah.
She's telling you, fam, if you're 60 seconds, don't come to my yard. I love Missy edits, man. Shout out to Misdemeanor.
Cool. We're now going to move on to the fun topic. And for a bit of fun, way back episode 2 or episode 3,
Yep.
we talked about, quite infamously, which part of London, our hometown, our home city, has produced the best MCs, right? And, Mo left with rewards that day.
We don't want to say who
No,
we agreed
no,
with.
we don't.
I'll tell them N17 to N15. Tottenham, baby.
No one knows where that is. No one knows where that is. Now we're going to talk about the mecca of hip hop. We're going to talk about New York, and we're going to talk about which part of New York we think has produced the best MCs. Now, obviously, New York is divided out into boroughs. That's Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx as well.
Boogie down.
100%. Did I miss one? Is Staten Island a borough?
Yeah. So
Staten Island as well.
Queens, Staten Island.
So yeah, we're just gonna take it in turns.
You
and
forgot Yonkers.
Yonkers is not a borough.
Is it not?
It's an area. It's an area. It's like
But
it's
they-
like
they're
Harlem. Harlem's an area. It's in
Okay.
Manhattan.
Okay.
I don't know where Yonkers is.
Yonkers is kind of, I think, away from everyone else because they've always looked at Yonkers as not really
it's like
being
Buffalo.
part of New York.
It's like Buffalo.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like one of those like off ends type of places. But I mean, you can add that, but I didn't add that.
I just wanted to
added,
because of LOX.
I just added boroughs.
And DMX.
And DMX.
I think Mary J. Blige is from there as well.
Swear?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
I think she is as
Oh, then
well.
you definitely deserve to give them a shout out, man. But,
Yeah, for Mary J. Blige, the rapper.
no, as in Locks, DMX, and just Mary J because it's Mary J, man.
No, I hear you. I hear
I
you.
think John the Don's from there as well.
What, Yonks?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Why?
John the Don.
Actually, no, it don't make sense. He is from there because I think his brother hangs around with the Locks, so it makes sense.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Mohammed,
Are we starting with me?
Go ahead, man. Because obviously, I mean, there's a lot of names, man. There's a lot of names.
To
But
me,
who would
it
you-
was out of two.
What were two?
It was out of where KD and Kyrie plays part-time, Brooklyn. And it was Queens. Queens get the money. Those were the two that really came down for me. And I ended up going with, just because when you've got two of arguably top 5 and you've got another one, you've got 2 of my top 5 and you've got 3 of my top 10. So when you've got Big, Jay-Z and you've got Moss, I'm going with Brooklyn. Because when you got them 3 and Moss, you lot know how I feel about Moss Def. He's in my top 5 and he was never going to go. Hov's the GOAT and B.I.G. is just, we know what he is, innit? So it was out of Brooklyn and Queens for me, but I'm going to go with Brooklyn. And we stayed in Flatbush as well, man.
Yeah, Flatbush is in Brooklyn.
We stayed in Flatbush as well, man.
We did stay in
We stayed in
Flatbush.
Flatbush, man. Come on, man. We got to give it to him.
Yep. That same profile pic you've had since 2019.
I used to have my cousin for like 20 years before that, so it's
I mean, yeah, you're a creature of habit for sure.
Yemi, who you going with?
For me, it was a toss-up as well between Brooklyn and Queens. But I had to go with Brooklyn, man. Even though Queens has got my favourite rapper ever in Nas, you can't deny Biggie, Jay, obviously you said Mos Def, and even new school people like Joey Bad, Pro Era, Flatbush Zombies, Talib as well,
Kim?
Busta Rhymes, Lil Kim, Fugees.
For Brooklyn.
No, wait, Fugees aren't Brooklyn. I think they're New Jersey, actually.
Yeah. $500,000.
Rescind that.
Fab. Sean
yeah,
Price.
Fab is Brooklyn as well.
You know what I mean? Jizza.
Jizza. Yep.
Yemi.
Yep. MOP.
If
You know
someone
what I'm saying?
if someone don't say Harlem, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
What, like Manhattan?
No, someone thinks they're from Harlem.
No, he definitely thinks he's from
Someone
Manhattan.
think, come on now,
You
I'll be so
definitely think he's from
disappointed.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, Queens was a very close second. Queen was a very close second. It's got my
Queens get
favorite
the
rapper
money.
and my favorite group on there, but I just had to go with Brooklyn, man. It's just the Mecca, man.
Brooklyn go hard.
Pete, what about you?
Yeah, it has to be Brooklyn, isn't it? Honourable mention to Harlem, though, man. 'Cause always.
Shout out
man.
Mace.
Who did Harlem produce, Peter?
You got Cam, you got Mace, you got Big L, you got McGruff. Yeah, I mean, if you want to deal with technicalities, then Tupac's from Harlem because he's from New York. You know what I mean?
This guy really said Herb McGruff.
A$AP Rocky, Black Rob. Do
His last album was in
Make him say
94.
whoa, sorry.
you know what I mean? So you got to give him a shout out,
Herb
man.
McGruff's last album was in 84.
Where did he
Don't matter. Diddy's from Harlem.
Diddy's from
Can't
Harlem
even
as
forget.
well,
No,
yeah.
actually, no, wait, is he?
Isn't he from like Mount Vernon or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think he's from Mount Vernon, yeah. Queens as well, big up Queens.
Queens
But
is
yeah, I'd
the
have to give it to Brooklyn, man.
I hear that, man. I mean, even with Queens, Nas, Mobb Deep, Cormega, Big Noid, Capone, Noriega, Cool G
Yeah, they
Rap,
got Capone and Noriega, innit?
Run DMC.
Don't they have
Ja
Mobb Deep?
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
you said
just
already,
said Tribe,
Onyx.
LL Cool J, 50, Nicki, Onyx, like you said, Pharoah Monch,
DJ Clue as well. No, I used to love his tapes. I used to love Clue's tapes.
Staten Island had Wu-Tang, Bronx had a lot of the kind of older generation, like Grandmaster Caz, Manny Mel,
Fat Joe.
Slick Rick, KRS-One. And then you have like Inspector Deck, Lord Finesse, Big Pun, Fat Joe,
Remy Ma.
Hell Rel, Cool Keith, all those
Corey
people.
Guns.
Remy Ma as well, I think.
Corey Guns, he's from the Bronx.
He's from Corey Guns from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I hear that, man. So I think if you're looking
Corey
at
Guns
like the
better than
Bronx
he's
as
done it,
like
still whack, fam.
the birthplace, that it definitely reflected in the MCs they produced. I think with Brooklyn and Queens, they're just like the transformational like boroughs as far as like how far New York rap went. And Manhattan is just full of quote unquote Jiggy
Jiggy
people.
Brothers.
Hey, when Harlem was the battle rap best rapper, so
Yeah. Dave East.
Yeah.
Dave East.
Vado.
I was with you too. He said when you was with
Vado.
Vado, he don't move me, bro. Didn't Vado do a thing with actually, right? He don't move me.
And Tahiri.
You done a thing with Tahiri as well?
They were on that program.
Oh yeah, they were in Love.
Yeah.
Was it Love and Hip Hop?
No,
The
it was,
counselling thing.
yeah, the
Marriage
counselling
counselling,
thing.
innit?
Yeah.
Well, she was on there with someone else other than Joe Budden.
Yeah.
What can I say, fam? Shout out to
Tahiri.
Tahiri, fam.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to do a 2022 edition
No, we're not.
of London. Oh, for sure. We're going to have to because, more players have come around, you know what I'm saying? More evaluation needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Avelino.
Don't be. Shout out to Avelino.
I don't know, man.
His last album weren't great.
I was clutching on straws here, bro.
Did you even listen to his last album?
Nah, I thought it was whack.
There you go.
But I didn't like him and Rich's album either.
No, it wasn't great, was it?
Oh, nah.
On Wretch's album.
Remember
No,
him and
they did
Rich's
an
album
album together.
the joint album?
Oh, you didn't like that?
Nah, man.
I think the rapping was great, but the beats
It was
were...
always good. The rap is
Yeah.
always going to be good.
Yeah, the beats is always the issue, innit?
Rich is the GOAT in the UK when it comes to rapping, but that's neither here nor there.
Huh?
Just rap. Rich is the GOAT.
Yeah, I think that's
I don't think we've
my
had a better
key
lyricist come
to
out of the UK.
check out, man.
All right.
I don't think we've had a better lyricist.
Nah.
But can I just say, guys, thank you very much. Spotify audience, Apple audience. You just stop laughing.
Oh, this brother.
I tried.
One of these days you're gonna have to do it yourself.
I genuinely thought I was getting there, and he started laughing at took me up my
I
strap.
thought you were actually. I was starting to get proud and shit.
Hey, what can I say?
Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for listening and thank you very much for viewing as well. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please do, because obviously we're dropping visuals now. And, you know, it's just a lot better, I think, to see our faces while Mo says dumb shit like Avelino's the best, or was it Wretch is the best rapper in the flipping UK?
Wretch is the best lyricist we've ever had in the UK.
Anyway, this is why you should be watching visuals, because you can see our reactions to some stupidity like that. But if you don't, then by all means, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Spread the word, tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow us on all the socials at Rhymes Pod. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time. So until then, take care, stay blessed. Oh, one last thing. Fuck Tim Westwood. And on that note...
Yeah, fuck Tim Westwood. No, generally, keep that in there. Fuck Tim Westwood. We've been knowing about Tim Westwood since we was in college.
Forever and ever.
I called him a nonce, you know, in real life. Ask Daniel. I met him, and I generally go, you touch kids. Daniel, am I lying?
Nope.
I generally in his face. I go, yo, bookie guy. This one I was ignorant. He pissed me off, bro. He was just there outside. I think it was outside uni or somewhere, or O2 somewhere. I was like, this guy touches youths, bruv. Like, he's jarring the way he was just standing there smiling. Can't stand that, brother.
Have you watched the BBC Three documentary?
Yeah, man, he's a pig.
Oh, was it come out, yeah?
Bruv, we've been knowing about him, though, Yemi. It's not like, I said this to him 9 years ago. We've been knowing what Tim Westwood was on.
Yeah, I'd heard some stuff.
Like, we've been knowing what Tim Westwood was on from when we was kids, bruv. He's a nonce.
Well, listen.
Stay blessed, black and highly favoured, though, everyone.
Fuck Tim Westwood, and deepest sympathies and love to everybody affected, and just black women in general, man. Salute to all of you. Stay safe, take care, and peace.